Okay. All right. Hello, everyone. I'm Jillian Graber, Executive Director of Protect PT, and we are here today for our community lunch and learn. Sorry, we're a couple minutes late. We're having some technical difficulties, but we're here with Jackie Nixon. She is with CR3, Citizens for Radioactive Radon Reduction, and Jackie, you're the Director of Marketing there, and you're also one of our newest Protect PT board members. So we're excited to have you with us today. And thanks so much for joining us to talk about radon.
Thank you so much, Jillian. I'm really excited to be here. We've got some reverb.
Yeah.
All right, is that better?
That's much better. Yes.
All right. Yeah.
All right. Okay. So thanks so much for joining us today. And thanks to everybody who was hanging out there for a couple minutes while we got everything worked out technology wise. You know, technology is not always the easiest thing to get through. But here we are. So, and Mary's on the back end doing our slides today. Thank you so much for your support, Mary. And so we just have a couple visuals that we will want to share with folks, but we wanted to talk with really a little bit about families and pets. And I know that that's something that you have been talking about for a while here, Jackie, how pets are also impacted by radon. So I think maybe we should start the conversation first with, just a little bit about what radon is for people that might be joining for the first time. We did another lunch and learn with Jackie and Nate, one of the physicists that she works with. So tell us a little bit about what radon is. And then we'll talk about how it impacts humans as well as pets.
Okay. Well, first of all, radon is a naturally occurring gas that comes out of the ground. It's everywhere, but it's not basically harmful, on the outside. The harm comes when it accumulates into your home. Now, radon comes from uranium, basically. It's the breakdown of uranium. And then it breaks down into very, very, very fine particles. You can't smell it, you can't taste it, nothing. You can't see it. And it creates what a PM 2.5, I think it is. Particulate matter is what it is. So when it accumulates into your house and it builds up, just like a carbon monoxide would, okay? And you start to breathe in those little fine particulate matter, and it basically damages the linings of your lungs. And that's what will cause lung cancer. Now, that doesn't happen quickly like carbon monoxide does. It happens over time. So you live in your home over a long period of time, let's say, I don't know, let's say like 10 years. For me, I was in my place for 30 years and inhaling this gas, and it attacked my lung. I had a tumor on the outside of my upper left lobe of my lung. So that's how the radon works. That's what it does. It accumulates, and it can come through the cracks in your home, through the let's say through your shower, for example, because it's a gas. So it just comes in wherever it can. And then, of course, gases rise. Right. So as you do that, you're inhaling this on a regular basis and boom, you don't know it. You don't know it. So.
Yeah. And so this year we actually started our radon monitoring program with your guidance. And so we've been doing radon monitoring in homes across Penn Township in Westmoreland County, and I also think some in Allegheny County as well. And it's been highly successful, thanks to some of the groundwork you had already done before we hopped on the radon bandwagon, so to speak, trying to integrate this particular type of monitoring into our existing monitoring program. for air. We call it RAMP, Radon Air Monitoring Program. So if you've seen any of our emails lately, it all talks about RAMP, and that's what RAMP is, the Radon Air Monitoring Program. And so, you know, we live in our homes, and especially during COVID, we've been spending more time in our homes, and we talk a lot about here at Protect PT, you know, making sure you have a safe and clean environment, and clean, and your home is your environment. So, you know, as we talk about this, and as we talk about families and who's in the family, you know, we're talking about intergenerational families, right? Sometimes, and we're talking about our pets because our pets are part of our family too.
Right.
So do you want to talk about a little bit about that, Jackie?
Sure. One of the things that we found out, I've been in the radon industry for 6 years now. No, 5 years. I would say 5 years. And this is our 5th anniversary, as a matter of fact, for me. But bottom line is in doing this awareness and talking about this radon issue, one of the things that really came about was I would tell people, basically a lot of senior citizens, older people, and I would say, you know, did you test your home for radon? Now remember, older people have been in their homes possibly they have been in their homes longer than young people, right? So you're talking to them about, you know, did you test your home? And I noticed that I would get answers like, oh no, you know, I don't need to do that because I'm on my way out anyway, right? And sitting there thinking, okay. So I started thinking about that. And one of the things I would say to them would be, well, what about your grandkids? You know, they come over to visit you. And then in this day and age, with the new type of families we have families that are living with families, right? People are coming back home and they are living all together. And this is not a new thing. This is something that's been going on at least, 10, 15 years, that the nucleus of the family is coming back together and they're going to grandma and grandpa's house to live. So did you test your home? Because now you got your grandkids in there. And they would stop and think, that's a good point. Well, that was working. It got them to listen. I had delivered test kits to various ones and had them test, and they said, thank you for at least letting us know about it. So past that point, you know, we still, you know, trying to get others to listen. And I even had a policeman at one time tell me, I don't need to test. I said, well, what about your kids? You know, that's just a government thing. And I'm like, seriously? You know, gas coming out of the ground is a government thing. So anyway, what happened was I did a little research and I fell into another area that I noticed that seniors, like, not just seniors, but people love their pets. And they want their pets safe as well as their children. So I was lucky enough to get involved and CR3 as ambassadors to the bark side of radon, which they implemented about 2 years ago. And it was presented by Radon Environmental, which is in Canada, and it featured Mike Holmes and Sherry Holmes and their dog Keikos. All right, and that's not their dog, by the way, Keikos. I don't think they was Keikos. But anyway, and it was a national public awareness campaign that started in Canada, okay? And it promoted homeowner radon testing through pet health. And the campaign started as a health promotion, a marketing promotion by 5 students at the university, excuse me, at Simon Fraser University. And it was the Faculty of Health Sciences by one of the students. So it became so successful in Canada that they started this whole campaign around this. And I am familiar with Radon Environmental. They love our work and we love what they do. So Alan Whitehead, who is the CEO, said, would you guys like to be ambassadors? And I said, I'd love to be one. So the idea behind the bark side of radon, which started 2 years ago, is to get people to pay attention to what's going on with their pets. Pets have a higher, excuse me, not a higher, they have more and an increasing amount of cancer is showing up in pets. One of the reasons could be radon. The pets are at the lowest level in your home. They're down in that basement. Not only dogs, cats, and other animals. One of them is snakes too, by the way. So
Really?
in your basement, let them know. Okay, let them know. So testing your home. I'll tell them. I said, if you have pets, or if you've even had a pet that died of cancer, you need to rethink testing your home, because you don't know the levels in your home and whether that radon gas, they are at they're laying down there, and cats too. Cats
Mhm.
are hiding that too. And they're breathing that particulate matter, which could possibly damage their lungs. And I always say could possibly, because of course you've got to have studies, and there are studies out there. You can research them. But what happened to your dog or what happened to your cat, that you're going to have to research. And there's symptoms that you look at.
Interesting.
So the
Yeah.
bark side of radon promotes pet health and says test your home to help save your pets as well as your children. Okay,
Yeah. Yeah.
that's what it's
Yeah.
about.
And as you're talking, I'm thinking about my kitty cat that's behind me. I have a screen up, but I'm down in what would be a basement. I don't have an actual basement. My family room is the basement. So I spend a ton of time here, and my kitty cat, because my dog is very young and would probably want to eat her. And she's very old. And doesn't have patience for that dog. So she stays down here. And yeah, I mean, it makes sense. Like when we talk about air pollution in general, we talk about, excuse me, children in particular. Children are not just small humans.
Right.
Children have developing lungs, they have developing organs. So when you're talking about chemical exposure, you're talking about the fact that those children are going to not be able to filter out the chemicals in the air as well as completely developed lungs and completely developed organs would be able to do. But it sounds like radon is while in the air, like if it's open air, it's going to dissipate, but in your home is closed up. And I learned from you that January is Radon Awareness Month. So we're going to be coming up just in a couple weeks here on Radon Awareness Month. And so, Jackie, can you talk a little bit about why January is Radon Awareness Month and what people should be doing in their own homes to test for radon?
Yes. And that brought up the thought when you were talking that January is Radon Awareness Month and has been for years. And it's, every company, every organization, I hate to say celebrates it, but they promote it. Okay. Now, the reason that they picked January basically was because in the winter months, when you've got your windows all closed and your doors, basically, and there's less airflow through your home or your building or your school. It allows that radon gas to build up even higher. So they would tell people to test their homes in the winter when the windows and doors are closed. When you run a test, by the way, you run the test at the lowest level because that's where the gas comes in through the cracks and whatever. And there shouldn't be a lot of airflow around it. And then that test captures that gas particulate matter, and it gives you a reading level. But you don't put it next to the dryer, or you don't put it where the doors are going open and that kind of thing. So January, they encourage people get the test, and you can get them at Home Depot. They're about $15, very inexpensive. Takes like test and hang that little thing little charcoal thing for 4 days approximately. Send it in for free, and they will send your results back for free. They will send them by email, or they'll send them by paper, of course. Yes, you'll get that, or you can have both.
Mhm.
So in January, they encourage it more because everybody's got the doors closed, and the radon levels will rise, and you'll see that they might be a little bit higher. So that's the reason we celebrate January. But we actually are saying, as soon as you start closing those doors, now there's tests now that you can test all year long. January is a good measurement for that. So,
And we're currently testing at some homes locally. You can test for, a couple months. You can test several times a year. And the nice thing about the Protect BT Radon Monitoring Program, the RAMP, is that we are providing free radon monitoring with the ability to be able to see the results automatically through your smartphone. So what you do is you connect to their app, and we connect to the app so we can see your results as well as you can see your results. So if you don't have a smartphone, that's okay. We're going to keep an eye on it for you. We'll keep an eye on your radon levels, and we'll tell you at the end of there, we'll tell you what those radon levels are. Now, if we do see early on that your radon's high, we'll let you know. And so the nice thing about that is that it's going to run for a month. So where, we talked about in previous conversations about how weather impacts radon. And so if it's precipitating, that precipitation actually, goes into the ground and displaces that gas. So the gas is going to come out more. It depends on the time of year, it depends on the weather. And the nice thing about doing the month long is that you're going to get a whole month of data, and you should see what the weather, some changes in the weather within that month. I think it's really great that CR3 the folks that developed this marketing for the bark side, we really focus in on our pets as well, because everybody loves their pets. We spend a lot of money on our pets. I know I do. And we love our pets. And I would think the smaller the animal, maybe the worse it would impact them. Is that the case, Jackie?
say that again. The worst would impact.
The smaller the animal, the more it would impact them. Is that the case?
I'm going to say this. I'm not quite sure, and that's where the scientists have to say. But the faster they breed, that's what will impact them more. And again, even with children, and now children, that's a little different because their children are outside and whatnot. But the faster that your lungs pump and breathe and take in air, they're taking in that particulate matter, which is damaging your lungs. Okay. One of the things too I wanted to mention, as far as radon is concerned, there are different zones, and Pittsburgh and Pennsylvania is in what they call the red zone. That's the highest level, which means that every home in Pennsylvania should be tested. So that's one of the things to keep in mind, and also understand that you might test. You might come out low, but your neighbor might test and they might come out high, because it depends on where the gas comes from underneath the ground. So you can't assume just because my neighbor next door, Mary's house, oh, she's okay, so I'm okay. Everybody tests, everybody know your numbers. Go ahead, Joe.
Yeah. And so we talked a little bit about, I think, radon and water contamination. Do you want to talk a little bit about how that can impact your pets drinking the water?
Right. Through the radon gas can seep through the openings in your house, through like your showers, actually, and where your water comes out. Okay, Now, water can be contaminated in different ways, radon, because if the ground is usurped, a good example is oil and gas drilling. Once they start pumping out that the gas and whatnot, they take a pipe and they're putting it very low into the ground, of course, and they pump this oil and gas out. Well, they're also pumping out with this water that becomes contaminated, and that contaminated water also can get into the wells. It can contaminate wells, that are way down, and you're getting your waters from there.
Right.
But then also understand that anytime you usurp the ground, you're going to increase the radon level.
Mm-hmm.
So that gas comes into your home or whatever through there, and then it goes in. And when you're taking a shower, for example, you could be breathing that gas. So it's very important to make sure that you test your home, and you should also test your water.
Okay.
There are water tests that also let you know that the radon gas might be contaminating it as well.
Right.
So
Yeah.
hopefully that's helpful.
And these are for private water sources, right? So these are for people that have well water, because your well water could be contaminated from shale gas development. In fact, in the state of Pennsylvania, if you live within 2,500 feet around a gas well pad, they will test your water. They'll do what's called a pre-drill test to see, okay, what is their water that's contaminated before they start. Because if your water changes and you have that pre-drill test, you can prove that your water changed, and it's presumed that their activity changed it. So you want to get a test, although they don't test everybody that they should, because they're not required to. So there's testing, anywhere along that borehole that it's called a lateral, and that can be 2-3 miles. Right. You should have your water tested. And we actually had an event in Level Green, or actually in Monroeville last night, for people that live in Level Green, which is right where near where I am. And because there are 4 proposed well pads, and we talked about private water, because while a lot of Level Green has public water, there are still some private water wells. There's 98 within the 2,500 feet of the Wonder Kulik well site. There are 98 private water sources. So it's 98 people that, if their water is contaminated, could potentially also be contaminated with radon. Jeff,
can I say one thing about that?
Yeah, go ahead.
With respect to that, your water being contaminated, also understand that your pets are drinking that water. So that's another environmental issue that could be causing cancer in your animals as well. So just keep that in mind, that your pets are drinking that water. Wait.
Well, and when you shower, it's aerosolizing, and that's where it's really harmful, right? When it's aerosolized.
Right.
The heat is making it, when you're in a nice steamy shower and you breathe in and you get that nice warm steam, sometimes it opens up the sinuses. Well, if you have radon in your water, that's not necessarily a good thing, because then that is going into your lungs and really affecting you even more. So if you bathe your pet, I know I bathe my pet, he gets a bath. My dog gets a bath in the laundry room, in the laundry tub, because he's a medium-sized dog, and I don't make the water super hot because he doesn't like it like that. But he definitely, he's bathing in that water. So it's not just the drinking water; it's also bathing in water. And so you just have to be careful. Make sure that your water's not contaminated. Make sure your air is not contaminated. And so we do a lot of Protect BT, trying to educate folks on the ways that these things could be contaminated, that could impact us. So Jackie, do you have any other suggestions or other things that you want to talk about with pets and radon?
Well, I think the most important thing, I always like to have a takeaway, and I keep stressing this. And there's reasons why, if you knew my story. But bottom line, I keep telling people, know your numbers. And you'll have people say, well, there's nothing I can do about it. I don't, I shouldn't say I don't care. I do care, but we'll try our best to help you. But at least know your numbers. Know what you're sitting in. If it was carbon monoxide, oh, you'd want to know, wouldn't you?
Mhm.
Right? Well, you need to know about radon. Now, radon is the second leading cause of lung cancer, according to the Surgeon General. Over 21,000 people a year die of lung cancer based, due to radon, right? Um, Check out the numbers on pets too. Now, they're a little bit lower, but as these issues, if you don't fix this radon, if you don't fix these contaminants, that's going to get higher. So over 21,000 people are dying per year. And I think it's important that you know what your risk is. Understand you live in a high radon zone. It's a red zone almost across the whole state. There are areas that are what we call orange. They're second level, but red zone is over 4 picocuries per liter. And for me, for example, when I found out, which wasn't until I was diagnosed with lung cancer, and when I was diagnosed, I didn't know anything about radon. I didn't know anything about it. And I had a tumor on the outside of the upper left lobe of my lung, and then it was removed in September. That was the best way for me, but I was blessed because of early detection. Then I didn't know about radon yet, but because of that, I was stage 1A. So no chemo. I didn't need chemo, radiation, and I needed no medication. All the doctor said was go home after 3 days in the hospital and walk, walk, walk. And so I've been walking ever since. Um, so past that point, let me back up. The doctors were baffled as to why I got lung cancer, right? Um, I never smoked a day in my life. I never smoked. Yep, that's me. And click on that. No symptoms. Never smoked. I was never sick. I was never sick. And I was extremely active. I never had the flu in my life. Still, I get one cold maybe every 3 years, but I haven't had a cold since my surgery in 5 years. I've not had any cold. So I was super healthy, got good genes, all that cool stuff. So they couldn't figure out where this came from. And I remember in the consult, once you have all of the scans, even the PET scan, the doctor sitting right down and he said, so how do you think you got this? And I just remember thinking, I don't know, and you always think like the doctors know everything. And that's not, I said, I'm thinking, you're supposed to tell me. But that wasn't the case. So one thing he said was, we don't really see any reason for you to have this. They ask you a list of questions. Did you smoke? All the time. No, 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 no. Sent home. Then I went back to a board meeting 7 months later, and I was talking to a home inspector. And you can click to the next slide. And you click, yeah, there you go. It's coming up. The timeline was first the diagnosis, then I had the surgery, and my diagnosis was adenocarcinoma, and that is the quote most common. And then I had the surgery. I was in the hospital for 3 days. Then I went back to a board meeting talking to a home inspector. Now, home inspectors also can, if they're certified, all inspectors are certified if they want to test. So I was talking with one, and he said to me, I told him, I said, the doctors don't seem to know what's going on. I don't know why I got this. I always eat right. I do all my exercises, and he said to me, did you ever hear of radon? The magic sentence.
Mhm.
Did you ever hear of radon? And I said, well, no, what's that? So he explained it. It's a gas, comes out of the ground. It, it seeps into the cracks of your home and all those things. And I said, well, how do you test for it? And he said, or, yeah, how do you find it? And he said, well, you have to test for it. So when he said that, and he said, it's a simple test, it doesn't take much to do it, 4 days. When he said that, I immediately knew. I can't tell you how, but a cancer patient goes through in their mind constantly. How do I get this? How did I get this? How do I get this? Is it going to come back? You're haunted by that every day of your life for the rest of your life. Every day you're worried about that, So when he said that, I immediately knew, because I live in a condo building, and anything they're going to do to this building, as private owners, they have to send us a letter that say they're going to do diligence. If you're going to paint, you're going to change the fire extinguisher, I don't care what it is. You get a letter that says, they're going to do this. And the company that's coming out to do it is. In 30 years, nobody ever sent us a letter saying we're going to test for radon. Ever. So what I did was, when he said it, I went and I took some of my lost income money from insurance, and I actually paid to have the testing done. And I chose two of my neighbors. They were in the lower portion of the building. Rose on the right-hand side, Stanley directly underneath me, and they're in the garden apartments, and then me on the top. Rose came out to 18 picocuries per liter. And she had COPD, serious COPD.
Wow.
Stanley, underneath me, came out to 9 picocuries. And his wife died of lung cancer, but she smoked.
Okay.
And then I came out to 3. Okay. So I turned it over to the condo association. They retested. And they used a little Home Depot test, but they retested. They tested every apartment. And Rose and Stanley gave me their numbers. And Rose came out to, with the Home Depot test, 21 picocuries.
Wow.
And Stanley came out to 13. Now, 18 picocuries is approximately the same as smoking a pack of cigarettes a day.
Wow.
Now, that's why I say know your numbers. Anything above 4, which is the government guide, EPA guideline, and that's what you should be concerned about. And you want to look at fixing the problem. Okay, so that's how I found out about it. And so we had the mitigation company come out. Condo Association sent them out, and as a result, they then tested a 3rd time, and they found the sources of the gas. And guess what? There are 6 sources of that gas underneath this building.
Wow.
So we have 6 mitigation systems on this building.
Wow.
All right. And so that's the reason I stress you cannot just know your numbers. Know your numbers. So that's basically what happened. Go ahead, please.
What did your neighbors say when you were like, I want to test for this gas in your home? What did they say?
Rose freaked out. I'm just gonna be honest with you. She was like, I was panicking, and I was like, well, we can fix this. We can fix this, right? Stanley, he just went wide-eyed. I'll never forget. Stanley never reacts to anything, and he just went wide-eyed. But to be honest with you, they put the mitigation system in, and one of them, the fan is in Rose's apartment, because I saw it. And there's a fan, and what happens is they put the pipe underneath the ground to where the source is, and then they run a pipe straight up the side of the building, and there's a fan that's connected to that, and that fan sucks the gas out and up the side of your house and over the roof. The pipe goes over the roof. So unfortunately, Rose got worried, and she just moved. So, and Stanley eventually, he moved like 3.5 years later, he moved. I'm still here. Remember, mine was 3.
Right.
So, but when they did the mitigation system, they got it down to, I think it was like 1. That is what they got it down to. Off of all 6 of them, they got the building down to 1. So Go
So
ahead.
you said that the EPA level is 4, right?
Mhm,
And your level in your apartment or your condo was 3, and
mhm,
you got lung cancer.
exactly.
So
And
at
it,
this point,
exactly.
it might have been over 3, but when you
Mhm.
tested, it was 3. So is there a safe level of radon?
No, there is no real true safe level. For example, even though I was 3, remember, I had to go down in the basement for 30 years to do my laundry. And you spend time in the basement.
Yeah.
There's no safe level because it depends on how much you breathe in and
Huh.
how long you've been breathing that in. So don't assume just because it's free, oh, I'm okay.
Mhm.
And then let's also stress the fact that you might go from your home to your workplace, because we push that you test your workplaces and you test your schools. Those kids are in schools for 12 years. All
Yeah.
right. So you should know those levels. So suppose I'm in my home and then I go to work every day. I'm there 8, 12 hours a day now, some people, you know, and I'm sitting in high levels of radon in my workplace.
Mhm.
You need to know your numbers. There's no safe level whatsoever. Just,
Yeah.
you know, try to get it fixed. Fixing it is not that expensive. I mean, there's things you can do, and I just recently learned that it's around, and Jillian, you can help me with this, but I think it's around $900, and it depends on, like our building, it was all paid for
Mhm.
under our insurance policies, I think. Also, I just recently learned that if you have a health savings account,
Mhm.
um, did you know that you can get it paid for through there?
Oh,
Yeah, that's pretty cool. I'm going to have an article in the May magazine about that.
nice.
And I just found that out recently, and that certain health savings accounts, if you write it up as a health issue, like for example, if you already know you have lung cancer like I did, and then you find out 7 months later, they could approve it.
Mhm.
So,
Well, and you mentioned something just now that I want to talk about, the
yeah,
magazine that you do, which is so phenomenal. If you guys have not seen Jackie's magazine, you have to see it. It's so cool. All the interactive stuff. And so can you talk a little bit about the magazine?
sure. Click on the next slide, as a matter of fact. Go to results. All right. This is, first of all, this is what I really want to stress to you too. Early detection is the key. And I want to make sure I stress you need to know your numbers. And I came up with this, actually, a friend of mine in Italy, he's a scientist, came up with this. And I kept wondering, why did I get away so clean where other people, are in stage 4? 80% of the people that contract lung cancer due to radon do not find out about the radon until they're in stage 3 or stage 4. Early detection is the key. So the function of ED, early detection, is greater than the function of chemo, radiation, or medication. And keep that in mind. So going to the next slide. Um, did you hear of radon? That's what saved my life. That's what it was. When I was going through the chemo and whatnot, excuse me, the chemo, I'm sorry. When I was going through my consultations with the doctors and whatnot, they said, learn as much as you can about your radon, and about, not the radon, excuse me, about the cancer, the adenocarcinoma. Learn as much as you can. So I started searching all over the web, and there's information everywhere. And it started to annoy me because I'm worried about living. I'm thinking I'm going to die, and now I got to sit here and research all of this stuff. And everything was all over the place. So what happened was I decided to go and start um, campaigning to let other people know about radon. And I started searching around the web, and I found Gloria Leonard, who is the head of Citizens for Radioactive Radon Reduction, or CR3. And I got her, and she asked me to tell my story. I did. And she asked me to be the Pennsylvania representative. And I said, sure, I'll hand out, pamphlets and tell people. I'm a big mouth, right? So with that, I realized that we needed a way that people online can go to one source and find out about radon and lung cancer and all who fixes the radon, who tests for these things, who's out there advocating all these things. So I created a magazine called CR3 News Magazine. I did it in 2017. It is the only magazine in the world dedicated to radon and lung cancer. There are pamphlets, there are all these different pieces of paper and whatnot, but no centralized place for it. So I created the magazine, and that was 5 years ago. This is our 5th anniversary coming up in January. And it started out, I had like 1,000 readership in 2017, and now we're up to approximately 25,000-30,000 readers around the world. We now have content, people that are giving us content around the world. And the whole idea is it's interactive. I did that on purpose. Half the people in the world do not want to read. They want to see video. Video is one of the most powerful things you can have. As you see, we're on it, right? So I added video, I added audio, interviews from different radio stations, from different places, graphics and articles about things that have to do with radon and have to do with lung cancer and have to do with people out there fighting for that, like Jillian. Jillian's in the magazine and she's in every issue, and we make sure that we push what they're trying to do because it's so important. And then the whole thing is supposed to be patient oriented so that the patient can understand and know where to go to get whatever they need. So that's the story behind my magazine. And do read every one of them. I mean, like, flip through every one of them. Subscriptions are free. We do not charge for them. It'll ask you to subscribe, put in your email. That's so you don't miss the next issue. But start flipping through them, watch the videos first, and then go back and look at some of the articles, So
And
hopefully you'll enjoy it.
yeah, they're phenomenal. When I started watching the videos and everything, it's exciting to see that there are so many people and that there's this wonderful resource in one place with all this information. And as you're talking, Jackie, I'm thinking, as we're talking about radon and our program we have with Protect PT, I'm just wondering, like, should we be reaching out to local physicians? Should we be reaching out to, and letting them know about the magazine and letting them know about the radon program? Because, we have pamphlets that we've made in our office that talk about the RAMP program. But I'm wondering if, this is something that local, physicians would be interested in having in their doctor's office. You're waiting for your appointment, and you pick up a pamphlet and you're like, what's radon?
Yeah.
So I'm wondering if we should do that.
Oh, I know you should do it, girlfriend. I know you should do it. Well, one of the things, and here's the next platform for CR3. All of these studies done in the last 50 years, we've got them all over the place, right? And they are true studies. They've studied radon and Surgeon General's already said it hurts you, right? It causes lung cancer. Our next platform is to address how we can inform the doctors. We started a new campaign in 2022 called Do the Ask. You're going to see more about that. The ask is go to your doctor, especially if you've been diagnosed. But we want the doctors, you know how you fill out that form that says, do you smoke? I mean, it's like a 2-page form, all on smoking. You should be asking, are you in a high radon zone? Mm-hmm. If so, do you know about radon? Have you tested?
Yeah.
Okay?
Yeah.
Okay? So, and then we want to cross that bridge. And if that's the case, then send them back with information on get the test from Jillian or Protect PT and go test and see what your levels are. Take that information back to your doctor and then use it as justification for a low dose CT scan if you're in a high risk area. And early detection, right?
Yeah.
The function of early detection. That's our next platform.
Okay.
And it will take some effort on everybody's part, but believe you me, right now, there are oncologists gathering together because they believe that we need to start looking at these environmental issues that are impacting our health. And these are oncologists that are dealing with lung cancer. So yes, we should do it.
And I'm wondering that if the people that we've already tested for, we've tested at a lot of homes. I don't remember off the top of my head how many, but a lot of homes already. And we have recommended remediation systems for several of those homes. So you're saying that the people that have tested and had the remediation systems put in, that they should take the results to their doctor
And ask.
and
Do the
ask.
ask it. Now they might say, now you know that right now, low-dose CT scans are not part of the for radon, you know, or anything like that. It's not there. But if you give this to him and say, do you think I need a low-dose CT scan? You know, and remember, your insurance may not pay for it. But bottom line is, he might look at that and say, wow, maybe we can get it justified. Maybe not. All right. Most of it's around smoking, but
Yeah.
it should happen. Make it happen. I call that forced action. Right.
And I'm wondering if there are people that are working on talking to insurance companies and bringing that forward as another like reason why insurance companies should approve these CT scans. Because if, you know, like before smoking was tied to lung cancer, and I'm not sure if they even had CT scans, but usually, you know, there has to be some reasoning behind why we're going to approve, you know, X, Y, or Z tests with your insurance company. I'm wondering if anybody's working on talking to insurance companies and essentially lobbying them to say, okay, if you have high levels of radon, we're going to automatically cover a CT scan. Because here's the thing, the early detection will save them actually a lot of money down the road for all of the treatment, right? It makes sense.
Exactly.
Is
And
there
I think that's a project that should come together, you know, with the oncologists that are coming together and the environmentalists to, like you said, let's talk to these insurance companies about getting this as something that is a high risk factor. And again, what's cheaper, the radon testing or the lung cancer? I can't tell you how much my bills are now, you know,
Yeah.
and I will die before my bill gets paid. I can tell you right now. But bottom line, I agree with you. I agree. That's where it should go.
Wow. Yeah. Maybe, you know, smoking, if you smoke, you actually get a penalty on your insurance. Or I think that they call it a discount if you don't smoke.
Yeah. Yeah.
I'm wondering if you could get a discount from your insurance company for being tested for radon.
That is a great idea. That's wonderful.
You get remediated, you get a discount on your insurance. I mean, I would think that those preventative measures would be, you know, incentive.
Exactly.
Wow.
You know, I mean, what it's costing me, you know, remember now when I talk about that, I got the testing done. I used my insurance money for loss of income to test my home.
Wow.
All right. Now think about that. There's something that can be done in every case.
Yeah. Yeah. People should not have to use their loss of income. They should be able to have, and that's why we have free testing. So if you have not had your home tested for radon yet, do it. Now's the time when we're shut in our home, and we will come and do it for free. So there's no reason why not to do it, right? And people are like, oh, you know, I bought my house. We did the radon test and I bought my house. That's great. But those things change. That's a really short test. There are, this is a longer test. So we test over a month. So it's a much longer test. And we had instances where people have done that, where they just moved into a home, just bought a home, and it was part of the inspection process. No radon was detected. And then when we first got the EcoCube, which is the device that we use from EcoSense, we gave it to one of our staff members to you know, just to test it out in his home. He found that there was radon when he had just moved there, just had the test. So just because you just moved there and had the test does not mean that you could possibly have, you know, you're covered. You got to test again. And there are people, you know, that have contacted us and said, well, can I test more than once? Can I test If it's found, I get my system and then I test again. Yes, absolutely. We're not going to limit people's testing. It's free. And we are asking people, and we are just about out of time, but we are asking people. Mary, can you go to the next slide? Okay. So we're asking people, we have an end of the year campaign right now, and our end of the year campaign is focused on radon. And so if you donate to our end of the year campaign, you can do that online on our website. If you're a member of Protect BT or on our mailing list, you got a letter in the mail about being a RAMP champ. RAMP is the Radon Air Monitoring Program. And so you can donate a little bit, and that will help other people be able to have access to the Radon program. Because right now we have 11 monitors, and if we get more money, we can get more monitors, meaning we can monitor more homes. And I feel like this is going to be such a long-lived project. I mean, thanks to you, Jackie, and I just happenstance to meet you. And I'm so thankful that I did.
Yeah.
And we started this wonderful partnership, and now you're on our board, which I'm so happy about. And you bring so much knowledge and so much advocacy to people, and really making a difference in people's lives. And that's what we want. We want to make a difference in people's lives. We have this, this culture of service that we want to provide for the community. So if you like our Lunch and Learn, and if you want to hear more stories like Jackie's, please take our survey. Let us know what you want to hear about. We're going to keep bugging you all about getting your home tested for radon. And have you heard about radon? We're going to keep bugging you. We're also going to, I think in the new year, we need to put some money in the budget to put some brochures in doctors' offices and talk to some of the healthcare professionals that we know. Yeah. And I think those are great steps forward. And hopefully we'll have all the homes tested that need to be tested. Wouldn't it be great if all the homes in Pennsylvania were tested for radon? I know
the DEP and the EPA would be happy.
That'd be a start. Well, they give me enough headaches. I don't know if I care about making them happy, but I do care about the people in my community.
That's right. Yeah.
All right. Well, Jackie, I hope you have a wonderful holiday. I wish we would have been able to see you at the holiday party, but I really hope we can see you in the new year. We are going to have every year for members, we have a member breakfast. And so that's coming up January, I want to say January 15th, but
good.
Hold on. I'm going to need to look at that date real quick. Yes, January 15th, which is a Saturday. At 9:30, we're going to have breakfast at our office for our members, and that's when we vote on our board chair and vice chair and treasurer and secretary, and that's where we talk about what projects we're going to do in 2022, and so we can talk about radon and how we're going to improve our program in 2022, because this program in 2021 has really taken off, and we just want to make it better and better and get more monitors and monitor more people and more places, schools and institutions, churches, like where people spend a lot of time. So we want to do that. And if you are interested in being a member, please join us. Jackie has joined us, and we're hoping together we can help people prevent things like lung cancer and other health issues as a result of environmental impacts. So have a great holiday, Jackie. Thank you so much for joining us today.
Thank you so much for having me, and you guys are awesome. That's the best I can say. Merry Christmas to everybody.
Thank you so much, and take care. Thanks so much, Jackie. We'll see you soon.
Bye-bye.
Bye. All right, we're off the air. Woohoo!
That was fun.
Yeah, I think it's fun.
Yes, thank you so much, Jackie. And sorry the tech was like so weird today. Thanks for working through that.
For real.
Yeah. My problems. I'm going to be there on the 15th.
Yes.
Great.
I promise you, I'm going to be there, and there will be no snow or no nothing. You remember that's 30 miles for me one way, but
I know, I know. Yeah.
But I do want to see all of you. That's very important to me. So yeah.
And we have something for you. We're gonna send you in the mail.
Aw,
So
something I can eat, or I have to just read it again. It's something I read.
no, it's just something for you. It's
Aw, no, I don't need anything. You know what I need? I need you to guys keep going. Let's keep partnering. And
yeah.
I loved your idea about the insurance company. I wasn't thinking along those lines. And I told you about, oh, we got to talk. They just put me on another board.
Oh,
Excuse me, not a board, on a team.
Mhm.
Remember I told you about ISLIC and
Yes.
the 28, there's 30 oncologists on that now, 30.
Wow.
And they put me on a team with Dr. Ivy Elkins and I can't pronounce his name. Anyway, and he's in another country. They want us to start going after organizations to join in on the environmental organizations and organizations out there doing things to join in. And I immediately thought of you guys because of what you're doing
Mhm.
is different. Really, it's kind of different from what everybody else is doing.
Mhm.
So for them to know about your radon monitoring, the ramp, and this is how you're doing it along with INSU, hold INSU in them about it too.
Mhm.
I'm going to recommend that somehow you be on this initiative. And the initiative, they're going to get grant money to start studying environmental impact on lung cancer.
Wow.
So
oh.
Yeah.
you will be needed,
Okay.
right? I can't talk about this stuff. It's not I stay in my lane. Okay, thank you.
And you know what, Mary, I think so. One, I think we should contact some of the local doctor's offices. And I think
Yeah, I put that on my list. Yeah,
we
and even like the schools and stuff too.
we already have a list of the local doctor's offices because when Dr. Sue was testifying at the local hearing, we sent letters to all the doctor's offices saying, hey, this like, Dr. Sue is like he was the director of public health for Philadelphia
Oh
Right.
wow.
years, and he testified about shale gas development and its impacts, its
Wow.
harm to human health. And so we sent out a letter to all of the area physicians saying, hey, you guys should come and listen if you can. And I don't think we got any letters back, but I have a feeling that if we put something in there about radon and we gave them some brochures, we'd get calls saying, can we have more brochures? I have a feeling. And we have a member, Dr. Marcia Haley, who is an oncologist at UPMC.
Oh,
Okay.
okay.
We should contact Dr. Marcia Haley. She just donated.
Yeah.
She donates every year, a couple times a year. We should call her and let her know about.
I would like to like when you talk to her, I would like to, because we got that Do the Ask campaign. I'm going to send you the video. It's going to go in the magazine. It's already in there, but I'll send it to you so you can see. It's just a video, 30-second thing that says, do I have high levels? And it starts with ask your doctor.
Yeah.
And it's just very simple, but I'd like to get her input
Mhm.
because I know what's going to happen is it's not, if you can't justify it with smoking, getting a CT scan is like slim to nil. Okay.
Mhm.
But what can we do to force something to happen?
Yeah.
Maybe you've got some idea.
Yeah.
So I'll
I
send
know.
that video. And you can
Sounds
use it. You can use it as you want.
Sounds good. Yeah. And Mary, I don't know if you remember, I know I tagged you in the board notes, but the 24th or 25th is the deadline for Jackie's for the next magazine, right?
Yeah, that's correct. That's correct.
So and Jackie, what are you looking for in the magazine? What can we put together for you?
You
And how
can,
big?
I just print screened uh, that little thing you had up there for
Mobile
like
app? Mhm.
you could put that in this time.
The mobile app stuff?
No, the mobile app is in there. But
Oh.
no, that last slide that you just did that said,
Oh,
Oh,
the lunch and learn
the lunch
slide.
and learn.
yeah,
That's a
I
great
think
idea.
that would be good. I think that'd be good.
You know what? Let's put together like a little graphic for
Mhm.
to kind of maybe even like we could put together a couple of the lunch and learn, like you know, like, are you interested in knowing about, you know, radon? Are you interested in knowing about you know, PFAS, you know, radioactive waste, like all these things, like will then come to Protect PT's lunch and learn.
That's a great idea because I
Okay.
have something. I'm trying to put an article in there about. I have one in there for VOCs, I think, and
Mhm.
one for
Okay.
PFAS. Just a very simple article. It says, what is PFAS? What is VOC?
Mhm.
Because people don't know. I want something simple and it explains it. I'm still working on that. If you have anything, let me
Okay.
just send it. Just send it.
Yeah.
That's
And how big? How big do you want that?
Maybe like that, maybe 500,000 words. That,
Or like 8.5 by 11, or should it
I'm
be
sorry. The ad. Yeah, 8 by 10, 8.5 by 11. Because when you
Okay.
put it on the screen, it doesn't matter. You stretch it. So
Mhm.
okay?
8 by 10 is fine.
Okay.
And then of course HD.
Mhm.
Yeah, HD. And
Do you
we have
prefer landscape or do you prefer portrait?
you guys, like when I want to give you a full page. So I want to give it to you if I can, portrait.
Okay.
I give you the whole page.
Okay.
I mean, but if you want to do a half, then we can do a half. I could fill it with something.
Okay.
But
So we'll put something together for you.
that's fine. That's fine. And the 25th being a cutoff, it doesn't mean we just absolutely. I don't tell everybody this, but bottom line, when I come back from Christmas on Sunday, I go into massive publishing mode. So
Mhm.
you've got a little time in there to get it in. I'll just leave like I did before. I left the space for you, and that's it. And when you send it, it's in there.
Okay, great.
We'll try to send it early though. We don't want to
Yeah.
do last minute. So we'll try to send that. I know that we could probably work on it either later today or tomorrow and just put something together. Knowing what you need or what you're looking for is really helpful.
Now remember, we don't publish till January 5th.
Mhm.
So
Yep.
there
Right.
is the between Christmas and New Year's. That's when I'm working on it. So
Okay.
don't die over it. Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Well, I'm
So
gonna go eat some
yeah,
lunch.
me
Thank you
too.
so much, Jackie.
You guys are
Yeah.
doing
Thank you,
awesome work. I just
Jackie.
love you guys. I swear to God, I do.
Thank you.
I'm gonna publish you way out in the world, so get ready. All right. Have your answers. Thank you for sending those ahead of time too, because I told her I'm not real good at like on the fly because I'll sit there and go, I'm real, so sending it ahead of time helps me to know what I'm going to be talking about.
Yeah,
Pretty good.
yeah.
Oh, just so you know, January, and I'll let you go. I did a CDC commercial, national commercial. It'll be
Cool.
released in the third week of January, and then
Wow.
the one for the NIH, Pennsylvania All of Us program. That one will be released. Those are TV commercials, so they're coming
Nice.
out.
Nice. And my kitty cat says thank you.
Look, you should have showed him that.
He said thank you. Thank you for loving
What's his
me.
name?
Her name is Maya.
Maya.
She's 18.
We
She's
need to do something with your kids too. Your kids, my kids. I'm going home, and they're gonna put on the superhero T-shirt, and we're gonna take
Aw.
pictures for that.
Oh,
So we gotta do something with your kids.
I am so behind. I need to still do
I
pictures of my kids. I
Yeah,
got
I got all these ideas. All right, I'm gonna let you go eat because I know how you are. You're getting fidgety, girl. Bye.
take care, Jackie. Have a
Bye,
good
Jackie.
All right.